Welcome back to another session of the weekly forecast. Now, this time around, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go through quite a few charts, not just the indices futures, but they will be mainly futures charts. Alright, and I'm just going to stick to the weekly time frame because we are only predicting the next weekly candle, right? So, no point for me digging into the lower time frames for any form of details, right? Because it's going to be brief and you should take it with a grain of salt because it all depends on the opening price of the next week's candle, right? Anything can happen throughout the weekends, and obviously I don't know where the opening price is going to be. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to go from the bond markets. So bond futures, I'm looking at lower prices for next week, right? We are in a bearish order flow. Right here you can see that we have taken out this high right here and then we displaced lower. Price is right now respecting bearish P arrays, as you can see, trading up into this bearish order block, broke lower, taking out lows, and then right now we are trading back into a bearish order block that has traded into a fair value gap. Alright, and then it's also 50% from this high to this low right here. It's above 50%. Alright, so I'm looking for lower prices, and eventually I think we can gravitate towards this low right here, but there's going to be a lot of weeks to come, but overall we are still bearish in the weekly time frame. Over here at Nasdaq, we are obviously bullish because we are closing above and we are engulfing down close candles. So I'm still going to remain bullish, and the objective is pretty obvious here. It would be the equal highs at all-time highs. Alright, so next week I'll continue to be bullish. For ES, same thing here, same as Nasdaq, equal highs up here, and I want to see if we can utilize this down close candle as a propulsion order block for ES, because for ES this particular candle has traded into these two down close candles right here, and then we closed above, so this is a valid propulsion order block, right? For Dow Jones, similarly, this down close candle has traded into a PD array, which is the volume imbalance on the weekly, and then right now we have closed above the opening price. So next week I'm anticipating Dow Jones to trade into this down close candle, to trade above this high right here, and probably this high right here. Overall, high time frame terminus targets remains to be the all-time highs up here. Alright. Now over here in the euro dollar, we are still going to remain bullish. Okay, we have closed above this down close candle that has traded into this bullish order block right here. Bullish fair value gap. Alright, so closing above the opening price right here, we are still going to be we are still going to be bullish. So I'm looking to see if we can drive the price higher to take out this high. For British pound, same thing. If it comes back down into the weekly fair value gap, it's going to be bullish. Right, we do have a longer term objective up here for British pound. Similar for euro, actually, we do have objectives over here as well. Right, we do have this fair value gap that was not filled at all, so this is going to be the draw on liquidity on the weekly time frames overall, higher time frames. Okay, in the long run. Right, New Zealand dollar, same thing here. We closed above the opening price of this down close candle that has traded back into this consecutive down close candles, which has traded into a bullish fair value gap. So over here you can see that this candle right here closed above the open, and then the very next candle we traded into the down close candles, and then we displaced after that, right? So I'm going to anticipate further expansion or further movement towards the upside. Australian dollar, it's a little bit choppy, but I'm still going to rely on this particular order block because we have not closed above the opening price of this down close candle here, right? So I'm still going to rely on this. As long as we are respecting this, I will anticipate price to push higher. For yen, it's a little bit tricky because we are not bullish just yet, right? For me, it's still in a consolidation. We are trading back and forth into this fair value gap right here, bullish fair value gap. So for me, it's easy as long as we can respect this fair value gap and this two down close candles right here, because these two down close candles is actually the proportion on the block, right? Right here, consecutive down close candles which took out the stops. We closed above right here, price came back in, and then we closed above these two down close candles. We returned back into these two down close candles, which is supposed to be the proportion on the block, and we're getting a pretty good reaction off of these two down close candles. We have equal highs up here as well. So overall, I'm still bullish. Nothing has changed for the yen futures, but in general, anything that is paired with the dollar should be bullish. All right, I mean with the dollar as the denominator. Canadian dollar, same thing. We're going to be bullish, right? We have this down close candle that has traded into a bullish fair value gap. We closed above. See how we have reacted off the opening price the previous week. I mean the previous 2 weeks, and then after that, this week we had the expansion higher. The same thing, we're going to expect higher. For crude oil, it's tricky here, right? We are in a bearish order flow, so from this high to this low, it has traded back into 50% once, and then it failed to displace lower. Right now we are closing above these down close candles, so it remains to be seen. I would be neutral for this, okay? And then unless it proves to me that there is a proportion on the block down here, so if you trade back down into this down close candle and then we closed above the proportion candle, then I'll start to look for this highs here to be tagged. So for oil, I'm neutral. And then for gold, I would remain bullish as long as this down close candle can hold the price. So it traded back into the bullish fair value gap right here on a weekly, into this down close candle, and then we displaced higher, closing above this down close candle, which took out this swing low right here. So I'm still going to remain bullish whenever we trade into this down close candle. Probably we're going to have further accumulation before the run higher. We're in a bullish uptrend, so no, I'm not interested in calling tops for gold right now, okay? Unless we start to displace lower, closing below this two up close candles, then probably that could signal some form of a short-term bearishness. But other than that, we're going to remain bullish. And that's basically it for this session here. We came around trade back into bonds. So I hope you enjoyed this new segment, or this new style, because I believe that the weekly forecast should be stick to the weekly time frame, and then after that on the daily and the 4 hours, that's going to be intraday trading. So for that, or for those biases, it would be more logical to highlight it within the day itself, right? So for example, if I am bearish on Monday, then I'll have to update on Monday what I think price is going to do in terms of the previous daily candle, which is Friday. All right, so yeah, I think that would be pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again. I'll talk to you again.